Hey, y'all, we have a good one for you today. We are talking about imperfect love. Are you putting too much pressure on your significant other? You building them up to a place that they can't even meet? All right, let's talk about it.
Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristin and Michael, and you are listening to Fuse Transparent Conversations for Marriage, Family, and Relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss topics that are thought about but not talked about, so tell your friends and family to check us out. And as always, go on over to our website, fusemarriages.com, for more content and resources.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever people watching from, maybe overseas.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good night.
Yeah, maybe y'all kind of different time, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning where you at watch. I don't know, but good day.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We try to keep it lively, entertained, educational, informative, right? Try to keep it real. What people say, keep it real.
Keep it 100.
Yeah, try to keep it real. Just give some insight on various topics.
Right.
How you feeling? How you feeling today?
Everything is everything. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing real well.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good. Weather's
Looking good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not as floral as you, but
Yeah, you shouldn't be as floral.
Yeah, it's true. Well, some guys, they okay with that. I ain't one of them. That's all. I ain't knocking it if y'all do that. I'm just saying. I stick to the solids.
Okay.
I stick to solid colors. White, red, blue, white.
Okay, anyway.
Nothing.
Anyway.
I wear patches every now and again, y'all. Every now and again, I do.
Let's move it along. Okay. You tell them about your wardrobe.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay. So we are jumping into our conversation for today, and I think that the title is really gonna open a lot of opportunity to converse. So please make sure that you are commenting, that you're subscribed. But we definitely want to hear from you. As always, with every show, we want this to be a community where we learn one from another. So our conversation is imperfect love. Now that's a really open-ended kind of header. What would you say about what that means, where we're going?
Yeah, man, I get the floor. I get the floor to kind of go. See, you gotta look though. See, I gotta get a close up on it.
That was a little.
You gotta see that face.
A little there.
Gave me the foot.
Okay.
No, in my mind, no. I went to a place as we were kind of getting prep for this show, and there's a young artist, Irish artist, that I really like growing up. Like so much, I had like a crush on this artist. And like I look back now, like I'm not sure why, but at the time I think it was because of the music.
Have to say all that.
And no, why? What you mean?
Okay, go ahead.
It's the truth. I'm just telling y'all the truth. I mean, at the time I did, and not now. I'm like, I don't know why, but it's what it is.
Okay.
But the name of the artist is Irish artist Sinead O'Connor. Mm-hmm. If y'all haven't heard of her, she did a rendition of a song called "Nothing Compares to You."
Yeah.
I think Prince actually might have did it first. She did it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody may not. It may depends where they born. They may not understand.
They might not know.
It may not know it's actually number 4, but we're old enough to know that. But either way, the song, she did a great job on the song, right? Okay, so Sinead O'Connor is an amazing artist that I just happened to I gravitated to her music. Mm-hmm. She didn't have any hair, y'all. On the video that she did, at least the one back in the day.
That was before her time, because a lot of people now have shaved their head, and it's like, it's a fashion statement. So
yeah, it's a fashion statement now. Mm-hmm. But at the time, it was like, man, that's what's up. And she like stood secure in it, right? So it really kind of gravitated the music, the song. But the song was Nothing Compares to You. I think she did a beautiful job of singing it. I want to bring her up into this conversation just as we kind of maybe lay the groundwork, at least some of the discussion we can bring, right? So in July of this year being 2023, July of 2023, she put a post on Twitter. We talking about imperfect love, right? And the post, I'm gonna quote it actually exactly what it says here. It just said, she says, this is from July of 2023, said, been living as undead night creatures since. She had an event that happened, y'all. That's why she's talking about since, actually. And the event is her son had passed the year before. He was the love of my life, the lamp of my soul. We were one soul in two halves. He was the only person who ever loved me unconditionally. I'm lost in the Barado without him. Okay. So she wrote this in July. 6 days later, she passed. Okay. And the idea, I'm thinking, I just see that like forever. First, I like her as an artist. The idea of the words that she wrote, she felt unconditional love from her son. Very sad. Some of y'all may have lost loved ones and maybe kind of feeling the weight of this, but like have found something in the world and thought that was the only place she can find it was in him. And I wrote down 3 words that kind of like just gravitated me toward this, at least the idea of this: heartbreak, pressure, and loss. And we tie that to imperfect love. She like, okay, here we go. Where we going with this? It's heavy. It is heavy, but I think it's relevant because somebody be dealing with some of these things that were going on, right? Maybe not necessarily loss, but it could be heartbreak. Yeah. Right? Considering that, it could be pressure. The pressure of trying to be maybe perfect for a loved one or someone that they love and they can't.
Real talk.
So that's something I want to kind of frame up our discussion on. Not necessarily taking about I focus on the loss aspect of it, but the idea of that we're establishing people as a kind of a place of saying, you know what, I'm trying to make them perfect. I want them to love me perfectly. In her case, it was her son. She ended up losing him and thought she would never find out again. Ended up taking, I don't know if she took her own life or not, but 7 days later, I don't want to speculate. I didn't get a chance to follow up on that, but she passed from the pressure, from heartbreak, from the loss. So that's what I want to talk about today. You know, imperfect love. Are we putting too much on people to be perfect and loving us in a way that it's really they're not capable of doing? They're gonna let us down potentially.
Yeah. Well, I think there's nothing quite like a child's love for their parent and a parent's love for their child. And there, you know, we have people that watch and that we've had an opportunity to talk with or that have commented and that have lost a child, whether pre-birth, so died in utero, or, you know, you might have had something happen later in life, or adults that have lost their adult children. So I think that kind of love, you know that it's imperfect, but there's still something so viscerally powerful about that and about the willingness to do whatever that you have to do for your child. So something about that in that story, I don't think that she did take her own life, but I do know that even the thinking of a parent losing a child, like, you know, I hear, I've heard this from in our family when a parent has had to bury their own child, like, this is not how it's supposed to be. You know, it's supposed to be the reverse. This is not how it's supposed to be. And some people are more comfortable talking about it than others. But I think that idea of imperfect love and recognizing I'm going to pour all that I can into this little being at this stage and throughout stages, knowing that I'm going to work my behind off. I'm going to be paying all the bills. I'm going to cook all these meals, and they're going to bring me a flower that they picked from outside, knowing that that's not equivalent, but in some strange way, it means more than all the sacrifice is worth it to get that little flower, or to get that worm that they dug up in the backyard that you think is disgusting, or for them to bring home like an A on a report card just so that you can say that you're proud of them. Like, when you're talking about parent-child love, there's something so beautifully challenging in all of that. And then when you're talking about adult to adult love, in some ways it's similar. Like, you still want your spouse to say, great job. You still want them to praise you in public and in private. You know, you still want them to think highly of you and to affirm you, whether it's you mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, in all of those ways. You still want to feel loved, even in its imperfection. Even though we might argue, I still want to know that you're going to be there. Even though, you know, I might be a little thicker than I was on the wedding day, I still want you to think that I'm beautiful. Even though, like, I might not have gone as far as I wanted to yet in my career, I still want you to say, like, I'm proud of you, keep pushing. So I think that those are the kinds of imperfections that we experience around love that are still really valuable. I think the challenge comes, number one, if it's not communicated, and then if now I have an expectation of you that you cannot meet.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're 100% right in the idea of, do we put too much pressure on people to meet a standard that they cannot meet?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the question. Because of course, absolutely, with the child loss and any loss of a spouse.
Yeah.
We, Lord forbid, I know people have dealt with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have been on the outside looking in and seen just from a peripheral of what that may look like. We don't know what it feels like because we haven't gone through that, but we can only imagine. At least we can talk about from the aspect of, hey, me putting pressure on you to make me happy, to meet every aspect that I need to have to, what if I need something, I need to be fulfilled in a certain way, I'm looking at you to do it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it, I'm upset. And if you do it and stop, I'm upset. And if something was Lord forbid, something happened, I'm like, I don't know which way to go in life, and something I'm not even gonna speak it because that ain't what I do. But what is that the right thing, the right approach to take? That's the question I'm really trying to answer and get to. Are we putting too much pressure on our significant others in order to live up to what we need? Are we trying to, we call it imperfect love? Or we want them to love us in this magnificent way, and they're trying, but they're not just able to, because one, they're human. Mm-hmm. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the key words that you used in that is you said trying. Are they trying to love? I think that's the foundation of it. But I also think prior to that, I think that's the key word in that statement. I think prior to that, there has to come a revelation of, it's my responsibility to take care of me. So in saying that, I have to, and a lot of people say, well, you have to be whole first. Like, sometimes being whole is part of the process. Like, there are things that I didn't know about myself until I got into a relationship, and I'm like, I didn't know I needed to work on that. So the idea of I can be complete and know everything that there is to know without the reflection of my spouse to say, hey, Tristin, there's this, I don't know if you know this about you, but this, and then giving me the opportunity to step back and to say, he's right. Without that person to say, hey, I love you enough to tell you this about you that you might want to consider in a loving way. I don't know that you can be, quote unquote, complete. But I do think that there is a certain responsibility that we have to look at ourselves and to work on ourselves, to say, you know what, these parts of myself, I really need to focus on, because that's not, and change really is all internal, right? So there are things that happen on the outside that propagate, a thought process. And then you start to think, okay, I'm thinking about myself, I'm thinking about my behaviors, and now I have to make a change, and it's my responsibility to make that change. So nobody can make you change. So if I go to the doctor says, hey, Tristin, you need to work out more because of this is your family history, this is this. And then I leave the doctor and I don't change with the information that I've received, it's on me. Or if I leave the doctor and I say, you know what, I'm going to create a plan and I'm going to do it, that's on me too. Even if you say to me, hey, Tristin, you heard what the doctor said, you can't make me do anything in particular. So I say that to say that the responsibility, even in a loving relationship, is ultimately, I need to do some things that take care of me. But in saying that, part of the objective of being in a relationship is not just that I'm making myself better, but that we're making each other better and we're supporting in those areas. That's why it's like it has to matter what your spouse wants in life. It has to matter to you. If I see, hey, you want to be a pro athlete, I can support you in that in ways that maybe you might need the support. You might need a little motivation. You might need a little encouragement. You might need some help with meal prep. You might want somebody to shoot around in the gym with. You might want somebody that can, that we can go on walks in the morning or whatever that thing is. My job is to still be a good partner, but it's not ultimately to be the one that forces you to be something different. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely. I guess one of the things that kind of jumped out in my mind when you were talking about whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a definition of what I think whole is.
Okay.
And I would, if you guys disagree or agree, whatever have you, love to hear your insight. But I think we have to define the difference between being whole and needing to grow.
Okay.
Some of us just need to grow.
Yeah.
Right. We're not where we need to be. We just need to grow from where we're at to the levels we're trying to get to. Mm-hmm. Other of us are not. We're not whole, right? And the definition of whole that I would like to suggest anyway is the idea of that. You know what? You may not love yourself like you need to love yourself. Mm-hmm. You may be looking for affirmation outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. You may think that you are less than who you are. You may have questions at the idea of that you should be worthy of being loved. Mm-hmm. Those are attributes that I think we guess cause a person to may think that in my opinion are not whole. Mm-hmm. Right? It's okay to come to a relationship and like, hey, I need to grow. Hey, but I'm at least at a baseline of saying, hey, I'm worthy of being loved. Yeah. Even though I may not have received it yet. I know who I am. I know that I may go from here to where I'm trying to get to, even though I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. I'm able to hopefully be open to love. Mm-hmm. I'm able to say, you know what? No, that's not love. Yeah. Those are baseline. Even if you don't have it all figured out, I'm okay with that. But it's a tendency, maybe people that are not whole maybe could put pressure on people to say, hey, fill these gaps that I need to actually do the work on myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's our responsibility to do the work, but to support the work. If I'm trying to help you get to a place, I need to support you and not be a roadblock to where you're trying to get to. Yeah, that's good. Not necessarily saying, hey, I'm filling the gap. I'm gonna love you past you. Mm-hmm. You don't love yourself. You think you don't look too hot. I'm supposed to speak hotness into you. I'm not going to say that word, but you know what I mean. You're supposed to be, I can try. Yeah, you can only encourage so much is what. And what will happen, I'll do it. And the days I don't, you didn't tell me I'm pretty today. Because you become dependent. Because you become dependent on, you didn't work yourself. Yeah. You need it. That's a sign that people may not be whole. I'm just saying that I don't know if they are or not, but if you just watch conversation, people interact in life and whether it's family or whatever have you, you can pick up on little signs of saying, okay, I mean, and like a lot of times they don't even know they're not whole. They may just think, hey, you know what, I just need some help or support. I just need somebody to love me. I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to, look out for me. Those are some of the key words you may hear. And I'll tie that back to imperfect love. Oftentimes it requires somebody ends up being the Superman complex, comes in and, man, I got you. You know what? Yep, I'm going to push you to this level. We get tired. Man or woman, could be either way. I'm not trying to say that a woman could be pushing a man to a level and he looking like, hold on, what's going on? True. But they get tired. We get tired. Yeah. Women, men get tired of like having to carry that weight. We're not meant to. Right. So it gets hard. So we end up trying to get perfect love from an imperfect person. Mm-hmm. And that idea is like, it's flawed and we got to just be aware of it, right? If that's something relationship that we're in or that's someone that we're considering, or if you're in it now, how do I navigate, improve on that too as well? Yeah, you said something I think is a really interesting piece when you talked about the Superman, like kind of that Superman complex, that savior complex. And I think it's important to identify if that's you, if you have the complex, if you see somebody, you're like, oh, I can swoop in and I can help them because I see something great in them and they could be awesome. They just need a little bit of me, they just need a little bit of my help or my support or my partnership. We called it Captain Saver. Yeah. I was thinking it in my head, but I wasn't going. We didn't got kind of delivered from talking like that, but that's what back in coming up as kids and boys, we were like, oh, you Captain Saver. Yeah, we said that, but hopefully if y'all know what that is, you know what it is. If you don't worry about it. I said it in my head. See, I almost said it out loud. I said it in my head, but I wasn't going to say it out loud, but I'll let you do it. But yes, I think it's important to recognize if that's you, either gender. And I think it's important to recognize if you are the one putting out signals that that's what you need. Like self-awareness is just so, it's so important. But because if you start to look at your pattern, if you're starting to say like, they came in and they did this,
and they came in and they did this, and came in and they did this, and all of them kind of have the same through thread. I think that it's important that you say, okay, what kind of person am I that I'm attracting this? Or what is it about me? What energy am I putting out? Why is it that this is the kind of person that I'm consistently attracted to? Because again, all that change happens within you first. And truthfully, all that change happens in your mind first, because your mind is going to dictate your feelings, which dictate your actions. So I think that it's really important to start thinking, even in the relationship, man, if you're married, you know what, I do this and then he or she responds this way, and I get upset that he or she is responding this way. Where's my line of accountability in this? Because you can start to have like the Superman complex even in your marriage. Man, I overcommit, and when I overcommit, I need him or her to step in and take 10 things off my plate, only for me to overcommit again. And then I have a contentious relationship because I am doing something that's causing damage to our relationship. Or man, I'm not a good listener. I'm not listening to my spouse. And when I'm not listening, all they do is they start fussing and arguing. And now we're fussing and arguing. The problem is me. I'm not being a good listener. They're valid. They want to connect. I'm the problem. So really making sure that we are really self-aware in the context of our relationship, so that, because there's no perfect love, but it doesn't have to be, a battle.
Great. I think that's great insight. You're so smart when you put them words together. You're using like visceral and propagate. Y'all go back and rewind that. She said all that. I was like, ooh. No, but really, I think you really provide. Hey, she the brain for real.
Go ahead. Go on. Go on. That is a regular word.
No, it depends who you're talking to. I'm just saying. But no, I really appreciate your insight and how you put that together. And I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
And I think it's something that maybe if you've experienced it or if you have seen it, I think it can help. We can discuss about each of the different items. But
yeah,
the question is, how do us as people, me, you and I, or people here that are watching, make their spouse, their kids, even their family, their savior, right? The savior complex, right? Us as people, we oftentimes make our spouse this, they're able to, they got it and they're going to take care of all of it, or we lean on our kids, or we lean on family. Is nothing wrong with leaning on the family or anything, or a spouse. That's what they're there for, But we put them on a different level, and they become literally like our savior.
Yeah.
Like, what are some ways that do you think that happens, or how it happens? You can kind of answer on either end of it.
I think a way that it happens is that one of the ways is that we're not fulfilled, like we're not okay with us. So for example, if I always thought that I was going to be a pro football player and I didn't make it, and this again is a very general example, and then I have a son, and then they've got athletic prowess, they're great, and then I'm pushing them and they're achieving, and all I want to talk about is them. There's a line between being proud of them and idolizing, because now I'm projecting onto them what I couldn't accomplish, and so they add validity to my experience. So it's not just hey, everybody look at my son I'm so proud of, or even daughter, truth be told, my daughter, she's playing football and killing the game, and I now they have saved my inefficiency because I couldn't do it. Now they're going to do it. So it's like I get to share in that, like that their success is my success because I didn't have it. Or, my daughter got her doctorate degree and I don't yet have my doctorate degree, but because she has her doctorate degree, I can hold on as if it's mine. So I think that the idea of I'm not having become or accomplished some things potentially is just one way. We're only really, there's multiple ways, hey, this can happen with money. Hey, I didn't grow up with money. I got somebody that has money, and now I'm somebody because I got somebody that has money, and to me, money is important. So now I can shun my past. There's no more shame there because now I got money and nobody can say anything to me. And I think that these kinds of stories of how do I how do I show that I matter? How do I show that, you know, all y'all had something to say, but now look, or, hey, this is what I thought about myself in the back of my mind, but look what I can produce. Look what I have now. Look at who I am. Look at who I've married. Look at my children. So I think that there is something to be said as one of the examples to potentially answer your question, that savior complex can come from the idea that somebody is going to come and make my life worth it. And if I can attach myself to them, then I am worth it. And I think it goes back to what you were saying, knowing it's in me. Like, I'm okay whether you're here or not, but because you're here, I'm excited that you're here because now we're a better team. Versus I'm excited that you're here because now you give my life value and you make me matter.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we kind of talk about, you know, putting too much on a person. Like, there's only been one perfect person though that's walked this earth, right? And that's our Savior. So we believe Jesus Christ. And he's the only person that we should be leaning on. That's what I think that's our foundation.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that helps us because everybody has their own maybe way of hopefully navigating this. We just have a way that we prefer, and we would tell anybody else to do the same. Like, hey, consider it, right? Hey, because at some point the pressure of life will get to you. It'll get to your spouse. It'll get to me. And then what? What we both cracking? Who we gonna lean on? Right? We both over here. We both crack. I mean, issues going on. Life is happening. Like, then typically things start deteriorating, right, to a level that don't need to be.
Yeah.
People get physical, angry, yelling, this, that, and the other, or depression. I mean, a lot of life, it just happens, right? And it's love stuff you can't control. So you got to find some way or somebody to lean on, right? So, you know, we promote Jesus Christ in our lives. That's who, you know, when she get real mad at me and I ain't talking, she go to her prayer closet. I'm just saying, she hasn't seen it. I ain't trying to make it up. I ain't trying to blow a spot up. I'm just saying that.
We wouldn't make it. I'm telling you, we would not be here.
Yeah. So, I mean, the idea is but you shouldn't put it on people. I think that's what we want to promote, and at least tell everybody, like, that if you see yourself doing that, right, just try to stay away from that. At least understand that. Maybe talk it out with somebody, maybe insight, watch, you know, a show like ours, and maybe get some ideas of how you can navigate that as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Good last words. And then you said, you know, watch our show, watch other people's show, but also try to find some resources. We have some available on our website, fusedmarriages.com, but getting into some form of counseling, because there is some self-work that needs to be done. And then potentially some collective work that needs to be done. Like you said, if you see you're both cracking, you might need something external outside of yourself to help you guide yourself to the right space. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your insight, your comments, and we look forward to continuing to grow. And the only way we can do that is let's talk about it. 'Cause this is Michael Tristin.